Welcome to the Full Dive Gaming Podcast. We have a very special developer spotlight going on here today. It's me, of course, JayBratt, your regular host, YouTuber, and unemployed extraordinaire.
And I'm Natbratt, a VR enthusiast who's really excited to talk to our fun Walkabout friends today.
And I'm Assassin32, a VR YouTuber who is excited to talk about Walkabout.
And Walkabout is always one of our top games. You know that out there. We have got Isabel and JP in the house, developer extraordinaires. Isabel, do you want to tell us who you are real quick?
So I'm our QA and player support manager. So I sit kind of at an intersection between our tech, QA, and our release team. So just helping our live users, right, with support issues, anything that comes up like that, and then kind of bringing those bugs back to our tech team and involved in some of our early testing, like beta testing and all that fun jazz.
You do it all. What about you, JP?
I'm a tech lead, coming up my third year here, and kind of a mix of things. Similar to Isabel, I'm kind of a bridge between tech, QA, and our release team. So I work closely with Isabel and making sure that as we're coming up to a release, our courses are in quality shape, and then also there's a lot of things outside of the courses themselves that are coming in and making sure that stuff comes in smoothly. And then I do some work as well just on our ports.
You're a tech wizard, by the way. Don't give yourself enough credit for that.
And you are a QA dragon.
Some unofficial titles. I like that.
So
With all those hats that you're wearing, I imagine when a new course comes out that your life just changes dramatically from, right after a course comes out. Because Walkabout is an event.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's huge for us, but we have such a big team now. I mean, at least for us, it's big. 35, probably comical to other people. But
yeah.
It is, when the release happens, it's definitely a big thing. But since we have so many phases for our courses, for some people, they've been working on a course 8 months ago, like our design team. And so they're working on the future courses when the course comes out. So they're kind of seeing it, in a different light than when they last touched it. They're of course doing play tests with it throughout the production of that course, but we all kind of on the team have a different relationship with the release. I'd say maybe Isabel and I are very close to the release. So we're really kind of see that final product up to the day. So for us, I think it's a lot more of a relief when we get to release, and maybe for other people on the team, I don't want to say it's not exciting to us because it absolutely is, but I'd say we probably feel a bit more relief than excitement. I don't know.
Others might be like, oh yeah, that was forever ago.
For me, you see it through different iterations of development where it's from a gray box to, right out the door, it's all polished and shiny. When you see that course and course over, it can, you just lose the appreciation, but that's what I love about being so close to the release and kind of just being with the community directly is you just get to feel that love and see people get to experience it brand new. And you're like, wow, that's how I felt about it way back. That just, fires you up for the next one. So.
Well, and we didn't bring you on for absolutely no reason. As this episode drops, there is news. There's a whole new course out now, right? Do you want to tell us about it?
It'll be our latest Layers course, which will be really exciting. Those are always, maybe controversial isn't the right word, but it's fun to see, no one has a lukewarm opinion about any of the Layers courses, I feel like. So it's always fun to see some of the dialogue from our player base.
I imagine not nearly as controversial as Upside Down, because that one
Upside Down.
That's one of my favorites.
It's cool.
That everyone had an opinion, and they needed to get that opinion out.
True.
Oh, I feel like we still hear those opinions sometimes. At least that one of the last player meetups I went to in person, a couple of people were like, "So Upside Down."
I love that course. I think it's a great one.
Yeah, I think a lot of people with that course, just mainly the fact that it changed that core gameplay of putting straight down, really kind of took things out. I know we've looked at some options, maybe not kind of revealing anything or making any promises on that front, but we knew that was kind of a big reaction to Upside Down. And then as far as, like Isabel said, with the Evil Layer courses, they are definitely lean more into the mechanics, and especially the last two with 8-Bit and Ice Layer, they've kind of had a little bit of luck, into that gameplay. So definitely still skill, but kind of the way the cube and Ice Layer bounces, or with 8-Bit, those breaker bricks bounce the ball. And now with Crystal Lair, the way the ball kind of reacts to these cool crystal mechanics. There is a little bit of luck. There's a lot of skill, but a bit of luck. So we know some players really like that and think that's really fun. I know I'm one of them. And others that, kind of like the traditional gameplay of not so much gameplay mechanics. So it's nice that with each release, we can kind of cater to each side of our player base.
And is that why they are the evil lairs? Is because some people might hate them?
Probably. I'm not sure, to be honest with you, not being on the design side of things, but it definitely lines up with that lore.
We had one person from your team, I can't remember his name, on the podcast a long time ago, and he was talking about some secret lore about some hidden skeletons, and even brought up the term serial killer. Do you want to comment at all on any of the lore, the history going on there?
Oh,
that was
Edward.
Felix, by the way.
I don't know if you want to touch on that, Isabel.
Oh man,
dead bodies.
I feel like I'm glad that the skeletons took off. I feel like I can't. I wish I could speak more to it. Just that I love that there's the bananas now that we put in. And there's like these little tiny Easter eggs. So I feel like what started off as a little bit of like a bit, like people just took it and loved it, and that kind of gave us the fire to keep going with it and grow it in our own Walkabout way. So I think the skellies will be there to stay, but who knows? Who knows?
So tell me if I'm wrong, or if you can tell me this, but is it right that those skeletons only show up in the non-branded courses? So like Viva Las Elvis wouldn't have one, but Arizona Modern would.
That's a great question.
Yeah, I think it depends on who we work with, to be honest. So I feel like I couldn't give like a great answer to it. But yeah, I'm trying to think through. I'm sure like Meow Wolf would have been game for one. We did a whole lot of other fun stuff with them. But yeah, they get a little bit different of a course treatment just because we have to work with someone, and that's a whole other exciting process.
Meow Wolf is
I was going to say, I do think that lines up, but honestly, a lot of that stuff is our tech art team who kind of sneaks that in. And that's kind of like their signature. I can't remember who does what, but I think Chase does the skeletons. Maybe Ryan does the bananas. Again, I'm not positive, but it's again, kind of like going through the phases of the tech art kind of polish phase is right before Isabel and my phase within the course production. So like they're handing it off to us. We have some overlap with them, but yeah, that's something they've definitely taken the initiative on.
Well, and you do a good job. There's these little bits of lore. There's all these nods in it. And there's something new that's kind of popped up. Actually, Assassin here was showing it to me, and I'm hoping one of you can break it down and give us any meaning behind it. But there's this employees only door that somehow seems to have all these back doors into all the courses. And it seems like it's very early, whatever it is, because there's only a few doors and what's happening. Would you want to share with us what that is and what's going on?
We can't say too much right now.
I knew it.
I knew it. But I'm glad you're asking the questions, that you're seeing that. It's definitely more will come out with that, the upcoming releases. But yeah, it's something we have been putting in over the last handful of releases this year and really not saying much about it and having it be in this place for if you want to go exploring, if you do find it, that's fantastic. But it's not something that we're trying to overwhelm new players with and kind of just let it kind of be there. So it's been fun to watch people find that stuff and kind of ask questions and about what or why that might be there. So I'm really excited for everyone to kind of see that side of things progress. But yeah, I do apologize. We can't say too much just yet.
I love the mystery. That's so fun.
Honestly, the fact that you can't talk about it, but we all know it's there. It's like Area 51. It's just, and the fact that you don't talk about it actually, I think, helps the mystery grow, and everybody's got their own theories on what's going on. To me, even if you don't know the behind the scenes stuff, it's still a lot of fun mini games. So go do it.
Yeah, for sure. And there is definitely a push we've been having for trying to add some new activities outside of mini golf, trying to make sure we stay true to our core gameplay and our core players. Of course. And that's a big thing. Definitely would want to highlight a big part of what Isabel does and what I do and the team does is making sure that, we're getting the feedback from the live players or beta testers and alpha testers and making sure that we're not losing focus on that core gameplay and the core mechanics as we try to introduce a lot of this cool new features that maybe some people aren't going to be touching. So there is that kind of balance there. But yeah, no, it's definitely cool new activities coming in with that area. You talked about employee door. I'll just kind of So you've noticed that. And then there's some activities outside of that, like the slingshot mode that was introduced a bit ago. So yeah, trying to keep it within the mini golf. You slingshot with your golf ball, but just trying to give people more ways to hang out and walk about, because we know just being in there with your friends or family, being social is a big thing to the experience.
So true.
We've played a lot of Walkabout over the time, and there's a weird thing that I've noticed that I'd love to get your thoughts on. Walkabout is designed in an artistic way. It's not obviously the most realistic looking VR game by any means. You know, it's very pixely, it's blocky. Yet more than any other game I've ever played, people try to lean on a rail and almost fall down, or they try and touch a wall. What is it about the game that is getting people so immersed that they kind of forget they're in a virtual world, even when it doesn't look very realistic?
I've got my opinion, but do you want to take it first, Isabel, on what you might think? I kind of feel like it's a personal thing. So
it's different for everyone. That's fair. I think we just put so much character into like each piece. There's so much hand modeling and like an actual personal touch. We hand place a lot of the set decorations and props of the course. And our course designers work very closely with our artists and kind of the rest of the team too, because, you know, you have to get tech art in there and kind of consider lighting, right? And how that's going to affect it. Music comes in with the ambiance. So I would say pretty much everything about the course is really curated. And I think people, you know, resonate with that, even if it's not necessarily to, you know, their particular flavor. You can always see that we put the work in. And, you know, if you put the work in, people will pick up on that. So I feel like that's a huge part of the immersion is like, yeah, it's the low poly style, but, you know, you can't buy taste. I don't know about you, JP.
Yeah, no, honestly, you said the same thing that I would say. A lot of what I think in terms of any VR game is just it being cohesive. So whether it's hyper realistic or stylized, that consistency through the game, you know, all the mechanics and all the pieces of art makes the experience immersive. So yeah, I definitely, I mean, that's something that surprised me as well, not being an artist it feels low poly. Like how could some really make me feel immersed in that experience? And I do feel like it's, like Isabel said, the handcrafted touch to these courses and just that attention to detail. And the team does, our art team in general, but the art team in particular does a fantastic job.
I did want to add like one last point that you had mentioned, JP, about the social element of our game, because I know that that's a huge driver anyway. So we create these places knowing people will just want to hang out with their family. I mean, we see so many people where it's like, I have my weekly meetup with mom, right? We're going to go to Venice on Sunday, you know, and just hang out at the market together, or ride a gondola. You know, and we get to go to Paris the next week, you know, but I wanted to highlight the social part again, because I think that just ties in so well with what you'd asked.
I'm really curious because it seems like you all have a really tight-knit team, and this is like not necessarily related to the game. Since your team is like kind of all over the place, how do you stay connected? Do you have like walkabout like meetings or like
you want to take that one?
Like meetings in
walkabout? We do meetings in Walkabout, which is kind of fun. I found it's actually kind of great for just like a 15-minute call or something. Like, let's just jump on the greens and just chat through this, right? You kind of get the sense of like, you know, someone's gesturing and you get more of an expression of where they are. I mean, I know for me, I do console gaming, PC gaming, you know, obviously a little bit of VR gaming. So I'll jump into other games with different coconuts. And it's just because we're all gamers.
We actually played Temple at Zuzura when it first launched on launch day, and we all played and it was great. And then at the end, it was like an hour that we just stayed there looking at stuff and talking to each other. And, you know, looking actually on that one, I was watching where the cats had been walking,
footprints.
Where the cat had been walking. But it's not just a game. It's a social place to meet. I know a lot of companies, I've heard of a lot of companies that just do their meetings there.
Yeah, we do hear that a good bit and definitely feel super appreciative that people are able to use it for more than just mini golf. I think definitely lends itself to that. Obviously the immersive worlds, but also there's not a timer. I mean, we do have a new race mode, which you can do, but for the most part, you know, Walkabout's core is take your time, you know, and not rushed, and you're not fighting a boss, you know, where you can just be, which is really nice. So yeah, for sure. And then I'll also say we do weekly play tests. And I think that's a decent opportunity for people to meet each other from other disciplines, because we do sometimes get a little bit siloed within our disciplines or our phases within the production pipeline, which is natural. And I think necessary. But we do have, daily stand-ups for a lot of our departments. So doing video calls and making sure we are all jumping into that. But yeah, typically the weekly play test is a great place to, just kind of talk, not necessarily about work, and connect. And then the team does a great job as well, doing retreats, trying to get our teams together all in one place, get that face-to-face time. They definitely know and value that it's fantastic to be remote work. There's a lot we can do and move fast that way, but also getting together to kind of plan out what are things we need to work on from a tech department, from design, art, etc. And so we can kind of plan out what we want the next year to look like for each of our disciplines and kind of areas we can improve upon. Not only make the game better, but make our lives better, work-life balance and those things. So it's fantastic.
That's awesome.
It's like you're saying, you really do. When you're in Walkabout, it feels almost more like you're hanging out with people than you're just VR gaming. And I have a story I'd love to share with you. You can call it, it's either heartwarming or it's really awkward. And if you have a more awkward story from Walkabout, I would love to hear it. But this was pretty early days. I want to say we were in the Arizona course and we were hanging out with these two people. One of them was actually on the podcast. I won't name them. They had started a long distance relationship. One was in, was it? I don't want to out anybody. So they're across the world for sure. And we would go play 4 people. Nat and I were playing with 2 of them. And every time Nat and I were shooting, we would notice their little avatars had disappeared. But I don't know if it was before proximity chat or they just weren't going far enough away. They were just going behind a tree. And we would hear these like kissy fake noises happening. They're walking with their little avatars and having these little makeout sessions in VR, especially since they've never met each other in person yet. In real life, this is the closest they had. And I was like, wow, this is really not just VR. And it's kind of grossing me out. But it's really sweet. It would be a lot sweeter if I couldn't hear the lip smacking sounds. If they would remember to mute themselves and they were just off together, it would have been cute. Yeah. Heartwarming or awkward? What do you think?
I'd probably say heartwarming. It's probably more accurate. I mean, Walkabout, I know you talked about this with Edward before, but it was created during COVID as a solo project by our CEO, Lucas Martel. And so, I mean, I just think back to the COVID times and how tough that was for a lot of people. So I do agree it's both. There is a limit to PDA, but at the same time, I'm like, this Walkabout was a great way for people who couldn't get together to connect. So to each their own, if you're not hurting other people, but I guess you kind of are hurting their ears a little bit. But, I don't think I can top that story though. I don't know about you as well.
I was hoping.
Yeah, I don't know if I can top that, to be honest.
Can or don't want to, either way.
It brings people together though. And like you're saying, it's amazing that it does that. I got to also go to actually one of your disorientation events of Mighty Coconut, where it's weird. It's almost like you're taking all of these little things like this new employee mode and the game, and you're bringing it into the real world, even for the employees, and bringing in other people and letting them kind of experience this odd subculture. I don't know if it's Mighty Coconut itself or Walkabout, but there's just this like catering to people who maybe haven't been catered to enough. And it's really cool. It's really fun and it's weird in like the right ways. It's why when you partnered with Meow Wolf, I was like, this makes the most sense ever because it just seems like they're kind of like the IRL version of what you've done in VR, and it's awesome.
Yeah, huge shout out to our comms and marketing team for that event, because I know Kathleen and Sarah and Wesley and the whole team over there put a lot of work into that event to try and, like you said, put the game's employee mode type stuff through the real world. So they do an amazing job. And I think just ultimately, from leadership of the people that we are fortunate to partner with, it being just the right decision for both parties, as opposed to it being really a money play. It's just, will this work in Walkabout, in our space? And also kind of is your IP a good culture fit? There's things we would internally as a team, I think, really like to do, but it doesn't fit what Walkabout is. We really want to be family friendly. We want people to be comfortable in the game. And so while there may be some cool things and IPs out there that some of us may like, we're very cognizant of what the community is really expecting us to kind of bring and stick to, because they've really enjoyed it and appreciated it to this point. So just big shout out to our leadership and our team that works to get those IPs and those partnerships together. And then our marketing team to, whether it's IPs, just the things we're creating being able to showcase it and making people feel welcome. Yeah, just super blessed with this team. It's fantastic.
So Walkabout's been adding, or Mighty Coconut's been adding a lot of different modes to Walkabout. Like there's the big mode and the little mode, and then there's a lot of gravity and not much gravity. With the new course, there's the magnetic effect. Whose idea was that? Who are we blaming on that?
Probably Lucas. I don't know if you know otherwise, Isabel.
Yeah, I think this was actually. I don't want to pin it on Lucas and then I get an email later. If everyone, I feel like the good and bad thing about the particular course mechanics that will stay kind of within it. So it's nice for people who just want to you have to either buy the course or use guest pass to opt in for that kind of mechanic. And then for the modes, like you were saying, we have our custom modifier system, which has just been growing and growing. So people can just walk about in more ways. We'll see. I'm curious to see different gameplay videos. Like some people can just make these crazy shots with a combination of modes and some of these layer mechanics in particular, where I'm would not think it was possible. Sash, I thought that would break it, but here we are. Someone recorded it and put it on YouTube.
So I'll put some B-roll footage in this when I edit it so everyone can see what the magnetic mode does and everything. But for those of us that are listening on the podcast, it almost acts like gravity around a planet. So when you hit the ball to the outside, it kind of pulls it in, but also speeds it up a little bit. And if the ball gets close to a crystal, it bounces off like a pinball machine. So I don't want to brag or anything, but I hit a hole in one on my second hole because I used that mechanic.
I certainly did not.
So, I mean, if you know how to work within the physics of the game and you figure that out, there's some amazing shots that you can come up with. And it makes it so much fun because every Walkabout course seems to have something new.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely one of those people that's more of the classic because
the mechanics make it harder.
It does. I do like Upside Down, though.
It's a great course.
It's a taste.
just a crumb of something new in there. Otherwise,
yes.
I tend to be the same way. I loved Raptor Cliffs, but something with the Crystal Lair that I think is cool. Like you had mentioned, we have these modifiers. The crystal mechanic itself, that's how it functions, where it can pull you in. But if you play Mount Olympus, you can see almost like an earlier iteration of a similar mechanic with the planets on it's not whole, it's I want to say hole
17
or hole 16 or 17. Yeah, when you
yes,
I'm envisioning the footpath you go up as you but again, that was a controversial mechanic, but I feel like we saw a lot of surprisingly great feedback as well of people learning if I pin it right between these two spots on the green and you shoot right here, you get a consistent hole in one, and people just go gaga for it. So I think that's something I'm really excited to see people discover, that with the crystal mechanic, how we've iterated on something that we had already previously released, and we're just kind of continuing to refine and create fun new things with what we got.
And people break down the new Walkabout course each time it releases like it's the Zapruder film. I mean,
oh yeah,
they know every angle and every spot to hit the ball to make some kooky things happen, and it's really impressive.
I learned so much from the players. I struggle to play rounds with people who play Walkabout all the time because I'm sorry, I hit stroke limit for the 6th time. And
It's where it's a curse in the game, but a blessing. I love how if you mess up on the hole the most, then next time you get to go last. I just wish there was a way I could choose to always go last, because if you watch what everyone else does, you can figure out exactly what not to do. You see what their ball hits and bounces off of, and you go, that's where I want to hit, that's where I don't want to hit. But then you do that and you win that hole, and then next time you're the first one. So it really swaps you around. I would just love there to be a go last only mode, because I would end up winning every time if I could go
a
last at every hole.
You just need to always go last option.
I just need to watch all of you fail, and then I'll know what to do by the time it's my turn. I love Walkabout. I will say there's a sweet spot somewhere. I feel like it's 3 or 4 players, because man, when you fill a lobby, unless you're with really good people, you're waiting quite a while in between. What do you think? You guys are just so busy chatting during that it doesn't matter with team stuff, or do you think there's any way to remedy that?
Well, one thing is the simultaneous mode. we did add an option within the custom settings to make it so you can all putt at the same time. And so you basically kind of choose your own pace at that point. So if you want to just play through all 18 and everyone kind of goes at their own pace, or I like to do that mode and just get through the hole, and then I'll wait for everyone else to finish the hole. And then same thing, I'll continue through the second and maybe wait for them to get through the second. But definitely agree, as you get beyond, 4 players into the 8-player mode, it is pretty time consuming. So that was definitely something that we took into consideration when looking at that simultaneous mode, which paired nicely with the race mode because that needed it to be able to do that gameplay mode as well. So yeah, highly suggest simultaneous mode if you're in bigger groups because that time gets long.
Nice.
Is there anything about the new course that I don't know, like a behind the scenes story you can tell us about, something fun that's in there, or a little hidden gem for us?
I mean, I think a couple of things, not so much with the course themselves, but just some things to highlight that are coming with this course, is we did make a meaningful update to our wristwatch. And then also we added for meta-based devices, so Quest and Rift, and then for Steam, the platforms that support the Live Creator Kit, we added what we're calling Coco Vision camera, which is allowing players, the big thing is for the Quest users, that they can record and take pictures of themselves or others. They can have it in different modes, like a selfie stick is the default. They can place it in world space. They can have it follow their head. There's a lot of awesome features that came with the Live Creator Kit. Speaking on behalf of Jeff Mills, our developer who worked on that feature and integrating that, and been working closely with them to get it kind of customized to our needs. But I'm really excited. It's not necessarily kind of a behind the scenes for Crystal Lair, the course itself, but it's something that's coming free with the update. You don't have to buy Crystal Lair to get use of that, but I'm really excited to see what the Quest users in particular, but frankly, anybody on the Meta devices or Steam are able to kind of do with that. Because I know a lot of our content creators and players in general, just more ways to video and share things, and hearing people having some ideas about doing some puppet shows with our comical grip to puppet feature that came. But yeah, I'm really excited. We got a lot of cool avatars from our team. Emma, big shout out to her, makes those avatars for us in customization. Like, they're all themed to our courses. So you can see players maybe doing some horror themed, video or something. And Widow's Walkabout, or like, an adventure, little mini series or video and El Dorado. So yeah, just excited to see what people actually do with that when it comes out.
So cool.
And a huge thank you, because Walkabout it's like a top 10. It's like a must-have VR game. But as a content creator, it is so hard to demonstrate how good the game is, because you can't really make it's hard to make like an action-packed video or something that shows off the laughs and the fun. But your spectator mode really helped, because you could we actually had a tournament. I was just in Dallas, Texas, I want to say, and VR Zone, Jeff Paz, they were showing off. They had a whole tournament, tons of people, and they actually did simultaneously. People were in one tournament in Dallas, people were in one tournament in Atlanta, and the two winners were going to verse each other. And that spectator mode made it so another person could be jumping around, showing what was happening between all the shots, because it's so hard if you can't make someone play Walkabout, it's hard to convince them how amazing of a game it is without those tools. Because if you're just first person, just looking, it's too good. It's a problem with VR too. How do you show off how good it is? It's a struggle for creators.
Yeah, I completely agree. I definitely think this will help. I know a lot of games that have this type of, the more content creator tools, the more, you're able to get the game out there for other players. Especially only, I say we're big, but then I go back on the other side. We're only 35 person team. So, and we are fortunate to be, 100% funded by the players. We don't have outside investors. So just a huge thank you to everyone who plays Walkabout and supports us. It means a lot to us and allows us, to have the creative freedom that we do. So yeah, we're just very hopeful that what that can do for us, but it's definitely a challenge in VR. Like you said, I think these will help. What people create will bring people, to discover VR in general, not just Walkabout. But it is, I still think, a challenge for people to see something, on a pancake screen and connect what that's going to be like in VR. So if you haven't been in VR in a 6 degrees of freedom, I highly suggest picking up a Quest 3 or Quest 3S and just get in there. I'd love for you to play Walkabout, but honestly, just getting in there and experiencing that is pretty amazing. So yeah, still a challenge to your point, but excited for this.
So on social media, every time a new person gets a headset, and they always jump in and they say, okay, guys, what game should I get? And if you see 100 comments, 99 of them will say Walkabout Mini Golf. But there is also kind of the hard sell, because who wants to mini golf? I don't like mini golf in real life, but man, I'm addicted to Walkabout Mini Golf. The physics is so amazing, because when you putt the ball, it feels like you're putting a real ball. And in real life, for mini golf, you keep score on the first hole, and then you just start pushing the ball around after that. And in Walkabout, you continue to play the game the way it's supposed to be played, which makes it a lot of fun.
I want to ask, now that you've brought up that it feels like, putting the ball in real life, what are your guys' settings for when you hit the ball? Because everyone is different.
Do you want to go first, Isabel?
I'm trying to remember all of mine. I mean, I play with grip to putt always, for me, because I have messed up my shot way too many times on accident, just like shakily trying to line it up.
What's your power settings, though? That's the question I have.
I know. I play pretty close to default, honestly. I'm trying to remember. I might need a second to I'm envisioning the settings tab right now. It's coming to me. I don't know. JP.
So I'm a weird one. I have it set to 0. The standard is 50. Yeah. So, and I think y'all had talked with Edward about this, and y'all had seen a video that I was on when I was talking about the PSVR 2 port years ago. But when you're setting it to 0, it's harder to hit the ball, but it's more real to real putting in real physics. But I don't suggest other people do that. I suggest using the default 50%. So don't be weird like me. But I'll also do a shameless plug for our partnership. I also use this, which, if you want to use this is from Formex. This is the Grip to Putter 3, but I think it's fantastic. But any putter attachment in particular, I think it's one of those things where if you're not using it, you're not missing out. It's still a fantastic experience. I'd say 95% of players, don't use a putter attachment. That's just a rough estimate. I've got no actual hard numbers on that. Don't quote me. But if you do use it, it's a little hard to go back. You can. I have to for development purposes, and after a couple of games playing without it, I'm back to normal. But it really does improve my game having a putter attachment. And again, shameless plug on the Grip to Putter 3.
I do the Wii bowling flick of the wrist. It's all.
That's so funny.
Gets it done.
So what about you two? What are your settings? What's your power setting?
Gosh, I don't even remember. I remember I changed it. I don't remember what I changed
it to 0 because he said that. I was interested in changing it to 0, but I'd already been playing on 50. I was not about to change that. I was going to mess it up. I'm usually getting, -1, -5s when I play a course. So I was like, if I go to 0, I'm going to be starting from scratch. So,
and I don't mind. I don't mind if I am terrible.
I'll tell you, I went exactly opposite. I'm at 100%. And someone told me the theory is that you don't have to swing it as hard, which means you maintain better control. So for the really long shots, you can just kind of keep yourself under control and still get it where it needs to go.
I just get too enthusiastic, so it probably works out well for me because I'm like, whack!
Rolls.
Okay.
JP and Isabel, it's been an amazing time having you on. Was there anything that you were like, oh, I really want to make sure we mention this for the players or talk about this that we forgot to cover, we didn't cover in this that you wanted to say before we go here?
I was trying to think. You covered the big, kind of the wrist watch and the camera. I don't know. It was just me gabbing, so I don't know, JP.
Yeah, I guess just a little bit more on the wristwatch. Just players will see this is a pretty big change in terms of the game, a new way to interact with UI, which is this gaze tracking visual cursor. So as you actually look at your wrist, kind of a indicator will come out from the menu on your wrist based off of where you're looking at it. So it won't be a beam all the way coming out of your forehead, but it'll be using that as the tracking point for you to be looking at different elements you can interact with on the wrist. And if you pull the trigger, that'll select the item on the wrist. So for right now, there's a quick mute toggle. I know that's been a big thing for content creators in particular who are recording. And right now you have to go up to God mode and mute and come back down. And so you're kind of cutting between the action. You just can kind of look and mute yourself quick, or if you got to sneeze, same thing. It's also a big thing. It's going to show the current player's turn.
Yes.
Something that we get caught up in a lot of. It's like,
I
I'm ready to
love
putt.
that.
Whose turn is it?
Yeah.
And so now you can look and go tell that person, hey, JP, it's your turn. Yeah. And then it's a pretty awesome and robust. Again, this is Jeff Mills on our team who worked on this system and in partnership with Lucas and Colby, our tech team, and others. Apologies if I'm not mentioning. It's a very activity aware wristwatch. So as you're going into other activities, it'll adapt with information for that type of stuff. It'll also have instant replay on that wristwatch, but it still has the original secondary button on your controller that does the replay. So really, all the core functionality staying the same. This is an additive type system, I'd say, but a pretty cool system that is also making sure to stay true to the one controller type, system that we've trying to stay true to. And then also, trying to get a new UI that doesn't require us to be really up to this point. You'd have to go within proximity to something to interact with it. So kind of trying to push the boundaries there. But yeah, their design philosophy, they said, was glance, click, go. So anyway, just definitely take a look at that and hope everybody really likes it. And we went through a handful of iterations with a lot of these systems that aren't for the course, which have a more strict timeline and are typically 10 months to fully develop a course. These, systems refactors, whether it's the ball tray or the putter tray refactor, the avatar editor refactor, we're working on them. Sometimes it takes one, course release, 6 to 7 weeks to get something, but other times we have to go through a couple of releases. So let's say about like 2 to 3 months. And so we really, with both of these, the camera and the wristwatch, taken a couple of releases to make sure we get it to a good place. The Coco Vision camera is experimental. We've even got a little post-it note on there. So please let us know if you have any issues. We know if you put it on high definition, especially on the Quest, you're going to be pushing a bit of the frame rate. So we have a default to standard definition, which is 720p, I believe. And so, yeah, definitely want to hear people's feedback, but also just letting people know that we've been trying to push this back, making sure we give the best first impression for these systems. So, yeah.
I think it's really cool that you've listened to people on that kind of stuff and added the cameras and the wristwatch upgrades and all that. So cheers to you guys. Thanks for everything.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's been awesome. And if it's not obvious, all of us love Walkabout. And we don't just say that on the podcast. I actually told one guy on the podcast I didn't like his game, and it went over really poorly. But it's true. Walkabout is amazing. Your team does a great job in everything you're putting together. So seriously, thank you so much for coming on today.
Well, yeah, thanks for having us. Thanks for loving the game. I mean, we wouldn't be able to make it without people playing it and supporting our team, because as JP pointed out, it's just 35 of us. So just thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, if you're out there and you're listening to this and you haven't tried Walkabout, this is your time to go do it. This is your sign you have to. You can even walk off the course and make out with your faraway love from across the world. Make sure you turn your mic up extra loud so everybody gets to hear those kissy noises and really enjoy it. And if you've been thinking about VR, well, guess what? Get Walkabout, get a headset. It's time.
Dive on in.